So you want to know who the best legends are in Apex Legends? You've come to the right place. Honestly, that's what this whole video is about. Stop the music. Seriously, you are in the right place. Today we're going to talk about why the best legends are the best legends in Apex Legends and tell you what they are, who they are, and why they are in that position. Overall, I'm going to give you my top 5, which ends up being maybe a little different, and I think is going to give you guys some insight on what the meta will be. So if you're trying to learn the game, trying to get better, but also if you're trying to anticipate what legend you should be playing now in order to beat the curve, this is the video for you. Also, I have some information based on our last ALGS experience that we've had. As I am a caster, a professional caster for Apex Legends. I played this game since the very day it came out. I've got over 1,000 hours in it, which is quite a lot for someone who should hopefully be educated to give you guys some advice. So I'm excited for those who are trying to find their way, through the maze that is Apex Legends, because we all know it's not an easy game, to end up figuring out what this means for them and how they can incorporate knowing what are the better legends into their own gameplay. If you guys see the new studio, it's because it is brand new. And on this channel, if you guys like what I do and my content, make sure to leave a subscribe, make sure to follow, maybe leave a like. I'll get recommended to you if I make good videos anyway, so it's not too big of a deal, but I would love you guys to stick around if you enjoy this type of content. I also make stuff on Raynday Gaming on all my socials like Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok nowadays, which I'm gonna convince y'all to get into. Let's talk a little bit about the legends though, because the best legends, in my opinion, from what I've seen, differ a little bit from what people are picking. And in order to get into the understanding of what people are picking, I have a great graph that should demonstrate a lot of clarity as to what people have chosen, not just, I guess, sparingly, but very, very consistently. Let's kick the music back up because we need it. The first very elucidating and educational point is this pick chart from North America's playoffs, where there was $750,000 on the line for these tournaments. And this is done by my very good friend and co-caster Dan Gaskin. Now, Dan put together the legend pick rate for every single game that they played. And you know what you could see here? You could see a lot of Wraith, but you can also see how it breaks into the value proposition that each legend is applying to the game. So let's get into it. Wraith, 20 picks every single game, meaning that out of a potential 3 slots, you can't play a character more than once. You're going to have 2 Wraiths on your team, and there are only 60 characters in a game because there's 20 teams, 3 players per team. Wraith was picked every single game. So Wraith is by far the must-have legend in Apex Legends. If you ever doubted that, this should give you a little bit more information, or at least clarity as to the fact that that is. We'll get into the gameplay of why, and I'll show you that in just a second towards the second half of the video. Secondly, you could see taking up that next slot is Gibraltar. Gibraltar got picked 18 of a potential 20 times throughout all of the 9 games that were played, which is phenomenal. And for a character that started off as one of the worst legends in the game due to his massive hitbox, his continuous buffs and success in high-level play has really started to shift and dominate the meta. And if you don't know why that is, and you're saying, I lose with Gibraltar, I'm not that great with Gibraltar, I'm going to show you and tell you why, again, in this video after we go over this chart. Number 3. It drops off quite a little bit after top 2. Gibraltar and Wraith clearly dominating this meta, but after that comes Bloodhound. And Bloodhound is really, I think, one of the most fun legends to play. They are in my top 5 by far because not only are they fun at a casual level, they're fun and effective, proven to be effective at a high level, but it wasn't always the case. In fact, this was one of those complexity kind of, unique, I think, kind of divergent moments from the meta of Apex Legends past, where they decided to go with this aggressive composition, including Bloodhound in it, and it ended up actually working for them. They got the kinks worked out, and they ended up winning this tournament for the playoffs, which ultimately was what they wanted to do. So it's a cool story of how Bloodhound was not really accepted, but then because of the way that a great team started implementing them, you saw the value, and then all of a sudden now Bloodhound is picked quite often, 11 times out of a potential 20. That's over 50%. That is a strong Bloodhound lobby right there, and you can see it's made its moves. Falling into the final 5 of this, you have Pathfinder, you've got Watson, you've got Crypto, and you've got Caustic, and essentially Pathfinder, Crypto, Watson, Pathfinder, and Caustic. So, what ends up happening is that's the final 4. So Yeah, so out of the 7 characters that were picked, really the final 4, I was trying to do my math right there, really don't take up much. It's more of like a smorgasbord. It's more of like a toss-up. Crypto, yeah, carrying most with an average of about 4 or 5 choices of crypto out of the potential 20 every single game. So maybe a good 25% of the lobby running with crypto. But everything else, caustics, 2s, 1s, Watsons, 5, 6, 5, maybe an average of 4 or 5. It's really crypto, Watson that are consistent. Everybody else starts to pan out. Even Pathfinder, who was the staple of Apex Legends competitive for a long time, is not in play. So let's get into my top 5 and why that is, and why you want to watch to the end of the video, because there's a legend that just came out who actually got some no buffs here, unfortunately, in this latest update called Horizon, that I think is going to have an impact. And if you watch the end of the video, you see what I mean. It's kind of the point of this video. Also, Rampart and Horizon, as you can see, Horizon coming out strong but not overpowered. They did give her a little bit of a nerf, making her movement skill drop down to 21 seconds from 16, and also Rampart going from 30 to 20 seconds. Another buff for Rampart, which Rampart just hasn't had a good time. Hasn't really been able to find the value, has she? Poor Rampart. All right, let's move into game, though, because that's really what you guys are hoping for. And as we get the disconnected player bug, it's going to obviously allow us to take a little bit more time talking to you guys about what all of these stats mean. Because when you jump into the firing range, it's not just the fact that Apex Legends is showing you that this is the meta. You have to understand why this is the meta and if it will change. And that is what makes, ultimately, I think, the best players. And this channel is all about teaching you guys how to be better players. It's also about teaching you how to be better gamers. I'm going to make sure this is full screen. We're going to go windowed, and then we're going to go back to full screen, and then we're going to jump in. So let's talk about Gibraltar first off, because my man, he just got a beautiful heirloom. Let's talk about why he is in that top 5 position and why I believe he is probably a number 2, number 3 legend overall. It's undoubted. You really can't even argue it. Gibraltar is very slow. He is not a big fast guy. He is a slow guy, and that kind of goes against him in a lot of these engagements where he has to rotate or get out of trouble. But one of the best things he's able to do is actually get out of trouble. It feels like it's a weird dynamic, right? This guy has no movement skills, yet he's so good at escaping danger. And that is where you would normally look for Pathfinder or Wraith, or maybe even Bloodhound to excel, maybe even Horizon to excel. The reason Gibraltar is so good is when you look at these skills, they have started to dominate how people play in circles. Now, in this competitive game, you know that in circles are really what it's about. If you haven't noticed that, watch an ALGS broadcast, watch an Apex Legends Global Series competitive playoff or tournament, and you will see that most of the conversation from casters and from players is about where is this going to end and where will we be positioned. Gibraltar used to give you that ability to play the edge of the circle, where you could rotate as the circle was closing in, rotating closer and closer to the center, and he would allow you with his Dome of Protection, which blocks attacks, gives you healing items faster in the dome, to really be able to hold his own and give his teammate a bit of respite, you know, a moving castle, so to speak. However, one of the best things that has started to happen is that people towards end zone, when they're playing Gibraltar, now because Gibraltar has kind of hit that momentum, you know, sometimes you tip the scales and now everyone's playing Gibraltar. Because of that, everyone has a defensive bombardment, which is his ultimate. So it has now become less of a fact about rotating out of the circle, trying to play this, but using this, as good as it is, to go in and out, to play against your team, to play with your teammates, to give them a bit of respite. They've decreased the cooldown on this quite a bit, but now it's the fact that everyone in the circle has a defensive bombardment. So if you are running, like for instance, I got my Evo Shield, I feel good, I got my teammates with me. Oops, there's a team already in the hut that I'm rotating to, and the circle's ending over there. Well, this team throws out a defensive bombardment, and they're going to kill us because my dome is down. We only have one dome. It's out there. What do I do? Well, here's the real qualm of this. If you are playing Gibraltar in circle and your dome is down, you're dead. But if you have it, you are able to be the only counter to yourself throwing a defensive bombardment. So everyone in the in circle is throwing a defensive bombardment, and all of a sudden you see Gibraltar being needed because of the fact that he exists. Because he exists and can throw down this crazy storm. And I'm going to show you guys, for those who are super, super new, bear with me, my older players, because I know you guys already know this, but we're just going to charge this up and show them what I mean here, because this is a very important part as to why Gibraltar is in the top part of Apex Legends, the meta. Again, if you guys are liking this, if you have any ideas, you want me to do more videos like this, let me know. So we're going to throw that down. How do I evade this if this is the circle I have to be in? The only way is this. And that's why, as a result of him being there, he has created demand for himself. It's so interesting. If you all stopped playing Gibraltar, if everyone stopped, this wouldn't be a problem. But at high levels, this is where he has a lot of value. He also has a ton of value with his gun shield right there, which blocks up to 150 damage, but it also blocks any amount of damage as long as it's still alive. So you could basically have 1 damage on the shield, and then somebody shoot you with a Kraber, 150, but it gets absorbed by the shield because it still had a little bit of damage left. Then it'll break. Then you can do more damage to him. So he's an overall very tanky character, very defensive, gives you a lot of wiggle room in fights, allows your mistakes to be maybe not taken advantage of, and really allows you in the in-game circle to play where most other legends wouldn't. It's almost mandatory to have him now. So that's why he's in the top 2 position, in my opinion. I'm not going to say he's number 1, though, but I'm going to say he's top 2 and 3, and you'll see why in a moment. All right, let's move on to the number 1 choice, Wraith. Now, Wraith has been the number 1 choice as best legend for Apex Legends for a long time, and part of the reason is that Apex Legends has several roles, and one of the big roles is an entry fragger. Being able to play as Wraith and get into the action of your team, basically push somebody, right? Be able to fight, oh no, things are wrong, and now I can get back to my Gibraltar Shield of Bombardment, or Dome Shield, excuse me, back to my team. I can heal, right? I can pop that syringe, whatever it is. That is one of the big beauty. Ooh, I gotta hit the headshot. Boom. One of the big beautiful aspects of playing Wraith. She's one of the only characters in the game. You look at characters like Octane. He can get in, great. Like, let's go. Let's play fast. Well, now I'm Octane. How do I get out? How do I get out? I gotta just stem. I gotta just try to run my best. I can't have any invulnerability frames, which is what Wraith brings to the table. You look at Bloodhound. I mean, even looking at Pathfinder, the reason Pathfinder is not in that top 5 in the same way is because, yes, he has that grapple, but there's been so much more penalty added to the grapple lately that it's not effective to grapple into a place and then be able to grapple out while having enough time. You might need to go now. You got 3 seconds before you can. So you've ultimately got to walk places, and that just makes it a lot less effective to really use Pathfinder and get out safely. Plus, his zip line still makes you an easy target since you can't zip line jump anymore. So Wraith really fills a role that no other legend, even if they're aggressive and have decent movement, can fill, which is getting out safely. A guaranteed, I have 7 seconds for us to scramble and get it right because I'm going in my queue, I'm moving quickly, and I'm able to just go ahead and make things happen. It's going to take a second for them to kill me no matter what. I've created distance. They got to catch up with me for 2 seconds. That just is something Wraith can do. The other thing that obviously makes Wraith fantastic, and if you're a newer player, you may not know this, but it's her mobility. And her passive is also another really powerful thing we don't mention. Her passive allows people who are staring at her to hear a notification. And it's one of those things where you don't really get it. You don't really, like, see the value. But when you really do look at the fact that you hear a voice when danger approaches, as far as you can tell, it's on your side. What that really means is that you are hearing someone if they're aiming at you. And so a lot of people are hiding in high level. A lot of people are trying to do their best to kind of rat it out. And you can hear when someone's looking at you and get great information for your teammate competitively. The last thing, of course, which I'll show you is the ultimate. And just having this ultimate means that, say we're in that same Gibraltar position, they're defensive bombarding, we've got nowhere to go, we're right here, I throw my dome shield, and now inside the dome shield, I know we're going to have to move. Once we get out of here, everyone's going to look at us, our dome shield's running out in 5 seconds, but there's a safe spot over here. Guess what? Now we can all be here. My Gibraltar, maybe it's a Bloodhound, whoever it is, takes this portal. We're not taking any damage, and now we're fighting from here, and we have a better position than the team that might have been here. And that is ultimately the most important thing in winning a game in Apex Legends sometimes. So Wraith will always be mandatory until she loses invulnerability frames or she can't transport her teammates instantly and safely. She'll always be number 1. Always. In terms of, you got to have her. That's what I mean by that. Moving on to number 3, in my opinion. Or number 4, I guess, in this conversation. Crypto has ultimately not been the best legend for a long time. When he came in, he had a lot of really strong counters, meaning when he was using his EMP, which takes away all of your shields, it slows you, it takes 50% of your shields away, it slows you and makes it hard for you to move and fight back. Great initiation tool, but unfortunately it was too easily countered. Players would basically right-click their shield, and then the shield wouldn't get damaged, and then they would just move on. Then they pick their shield right back up, have a full shield again. They've changed that. They've nerfed that. They've adjusted that. You now are going to take damage to any shield that's basically around you. But the beauty of what Crypto's been able to do now, especially given the recon coordination, is that he, as alongside Bloodhound, which has made Pathfinder a lot less useful, is they've upgraded the ability to see beacons. Now, these are just passives of the drone. You can see if hostile enemies are near you. But those little beacons in the game, I'm not sure if there's one in the training range, but we'll find out in a second. But those little beacons in the game that allow you to see, hey, scan if you're Pathfinder, he can go up with his drone and scan those too. One of those big changes that really said, well, great, I can play Crypto, I can be defensive, we can have an EMP if we need it, right? And just to see what that EMP looks like, because you can see the drone there. Boom, that EMP, big range. If you're a Crypto and you're in it, that's going to be the effect. You'll lose 50 health on your shield. But it's just a really strong tactical tool to be able to either aggress onto a team, throw a team off who's trying to basically be, you know, 1v3ing you, or excuse me, third-partying you, and they don't, you know, they're not expecting to get EMP'd, and now they got to back off. Great stuff. And the ability to pick up banners from teammates with your drone, which was not necessarily valuable because you could pick the banner up, but you couldn't revive them. Now you can go revive people at the actual respawn beacon with the banner that you picked up from the drone. So the drone can pretty much do it all. So that's, I think, why Crypto has almost usurped Pathfinder, because his utility, when you're trying to decide a team composition, we got Wraith, we have Mobility, we got Entry Fragger, we got Gibraltar, who's got our defensive bombardment. He helps us in those in-game circles. He's good in 1v1s, very hard to kill, very tanky. And then we've got Crypto, who is great at ambushing. He's great strategically, getting information, sieging, Watson fences, sieging, people held up, destroying shields, right? That is a great kind of blend that obviously Crypto's done. And just so you guys know, this is for North America. Europe will be a little different. And obviously Japan, APAC, that'll be a little different as well. When you look at across the sea, you'll see a lot of different choices. Revenant, one of the actual legends that gets a lot of play over in the APAC region. There was a tournament where every single team had a Revenant. That's how different it can be. Obviously, let's talk about number 4, number 5, but in the conversation for, I think, you know, in that 2 to 5 range of the best legends, Bloodhound. Now, why is Bloodhound the best? You saw it in the pick rate, but what does Bloodhound bring to the table that these other legends don't? Well, let's play a little wingman for you guys while we talk about it, right? Don't need as much ammo. So, one of the beautiful things about Bloodhound, right, is that Bloodhound has not only the ability to be aggressive, but gather information. As a recon legend, a little bit of a beautiful thing about what he does, or they do, is the ability to scan survey beacons now, which completely changed the meta, because before then, Pathfinder was the only legend who could do that. Why is that important, that Crypto and Bloodhound are now involved in scanning beacons? It's because, again, end game circles. In Apex Legends, when you do look at the map, I can't bring it up here because we don't have one in the firing range, but in that corner of the map that's right above me, you're going to see where the circle is, and then you're going to see the next circle when you scan a beacon. That will almost give every good player in Apex Legends, every pro, everyone who knows, where they will be able to see where the ending circle is. Why is that, Evan? Is that magic, Raynday? I don't know what you mean. They can see where the end circle is before the game's over? Yes, they can. It's a very common thing, and at high level, it is almost how you have to play. And so without having a recon legend to be able to get that, you have to either rely on other people's information, or you have to have it in your team. And Bloodhound has brought enough to the table that they've decided that Bloodhound deserves to be in the composition. Plus, we've seen so many good things happen from Complexity actually running Bloodhound. Now, Bloodhound, not only with that, with the buffs to the ability to scan, you have information on where people are hiding, you have information on enemies, you have information that'll allow you to play a situation better and maybe either aggress onto the situation or not. One of the beautiful things about Bloodhound is that even though you're just gathering information, you're knowing exactly where the next circle is, so you're being valuable to your team even when you're not fighting. Remember that. That's a big deal. When you're not fighting and you're still being valuable, that is a high-level legend. I believe that the beauty to turn between intel and aggressive style play tactics for Bloodhound is what makes this character so good. I can easily be sitting here and just be scanning, basically saying, when are we making our move, finding good shots, trying to find good shots, you know, trying to make a difference, right? Knowing for my teammates who see those scans and see information, you know, what do they need to be doing? And I could also just as easily know, all right, just broke that shield. Let's go. And with my increased movement speed and with the increased decreased cooldown to scans, not only keep finding information, but every 7 seconds now, obviously be going ahead. And now still figuring out who do I want to take down. Another scan again. Hey, guys, they're over there. Let's push this way. And I'm still being so aggressive. And look how much time I have left on my Beast of the Hunt. I got another 12 seconds. I'm going to get another scan in. Boom. All right, wait. They're coming there. Let's back off. We're going to hold, right? We're holding. And throughout this time, we're still playing defensive. We've gone from offensive, chasing somebody down, and now we're defensive again. And we're getting our scans back. And we're surveying the opportunities. What any good player wants, what any high-level player wants in a game competitively is to be able to make choices. The less choices you have, the more refined and more one way your game has to be to succeed. And that's riskier. Because if you only have one way to succeed, that means that if that way gets blocked off, you're screwed. You can't win. Can't win the prize money. It's not yours. But if you have multiple opportunities to play different ways, then obviously that character can be more effective for you. Which is why Bloodhound, with the effectiveness, with the buffs to Eye of the Allfather, with the Beast of the Hunt buffs that allow you to scan more often, but not only that, when you knock players down, get an increased 5 seconds added to your Beast of the Hunt timer. So if I was knocking those players down, I would have gotten 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 more seconds added on, so it would have kept going. The ability to be aggressive, but also track and find information makes Bloodhound a top-tier legend. That's why they're getting picked so much. But now, let's talk about the prediction. If you made it to this part of the video, congratulations. You're a real one. And I appreciate you. Because you know what? You're helping me. But I'm hopefully helping you here. My prediction as a competitive player, as somebody who understands what just happened with Horizon, who just got a nerf. From the very beginning, I believe Horizon was a character that was top tier. Now, I was curious as to if it would feel that way when they came out in the game. But as I've watched Horizon be played, as I've seen the nerfs happen to Horizon, not overpowered, but strong, even in the developer's eyes, there is potential here that is going to be unlocked sooner or later. The movement potential with Spacewalk and Gravity Lift, the setup potential with Black Hole, where teams are easily grouped and hanging in the same place in Final Circle. Horizon has everything she needs to be one of the best, if not the best legend in competitive, to where she is in the Bloodhound Gibraltar level of pick rate. And let's talk a little bit about why. Horizon is a legend that, with the ability to get up this high, can traverse so many different areas of the map. And one of the hardest things, and one of the things that made Pathfinder so valuable, is that sometimes you get stuck in a final circle and you just can't get anywhere. You can't move. You're in a bad spot. Boom, hit a zip line up that way. But Horizon has that every 20 seconds. So it has nothing to do with having to have your ultimate. You and your teammates can ride this puppy, get out of dodge, and then go to where you need to go. This can also be used defensively. It can also be used to block doorways. It can be used to set teammates up and throw on enemies that are unsuspecting, maybe hiding in the similar spot, push them up out of a rat spot and finish them off. But let's talk about one of the most beautiful aspects of Horizon, which is that she takes time to get good with. This is not a skill that is... You have a vortex. You could do so many, you can go in, right? You can go in, you can go out. You can go in, you can continue to stay up. You can stay here and have perfect midair accuracy for a while, right? You can do moves to get around people. This is something that's going to take time because it's so multidimensional. It plays in all different I think potentialities for how to attack a situation or defend against one. And when you have something like that, it is going to take time for the best players to figure it out. And they are not going to. Pro tendency is not to do the hardest thing right away. Because if it takes you a month to learn Horizon, and you got a tournament in a week, you're not even going to play Horizon for at least a week. Maybe that tournament's in 2 weeks. Now you're not touching Horizon for 2 weeks for sure. And if you win, maybe you don't even try. So the best teams, if they win, maybe they just stick with the composition. So they're not even trying new legends. But there are teams, and it's happened with Caustic and Alliance in Europe, bringing Caustic into the meta, making a statement, winning European tournaments with this character, showing the power. It's happened, obviously, very recently with Bloodhound and Complexity, championing the value of this legend, and right when they needed it, buffs coming through to make it that much more impressive and that much more unique to their playstyle that no one knew how to counter. The second somebody goes with Horizon and takes advantage of not only the movement abilities, not only the defensive and I think setup capabilities of the ultimate, but the potential of things like sniping midair, hitting vantage points, and then being able to go from high ground to low ground and get a first shot off. I mean, are you kidding me? How many games are decided by basically being here and another team's there, and you're basically just trying to get the first shot off? Her spacewalk passive, allowing you to just get back into the game without taking that huge jarring dip, it is very underrated. It is a very strong passive. And so from what I'm going to suggest in this video to end it right now, that Horizon is one of the top 5 legends in Apex Legends. We just don't know it yet. And I think pros are starting to figure it out. I think they might have known for a while the potential this legend has. And I think that as you try it more, and as you play it more, and as team compositions start to build, not around just this and Horizon playing individually, but about the setup with Horizon and her black hole, I think we are going to start seeing so much more devastation come through in competitive. And I think this legend is going to be one of the best in the business. Imagine a defensive bombardment, but a black hole keeping you there, right? And imagine less Gibbies as well if people start playing more Horizon. The ability to be successful, the ability to see a Wraith portal right there, and you got that Wraith portal, but you toss this, and so they're coming out of that Wraith portal, and they're trying to get around there, but you're keeping them right here. The ability to kind of chase. Oh, you want to hide behind that thing? I got a perfect vantage point. Boom. To the dome. And I'm staying up here. In-game circle. I'm not Pathfinder ziplining. I'm up here. Everyone's fighting down below. Boom. Now I'm here. There's so many ways for this character to be amazing. And that's why I want you guys in the comment section to continue the conversation. Yo, if you like this video, leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you have something to say, say it. And of course, follow me on all my socials at Raynday Gaming, TikTok, Instagram, and of course, YouTube here. And what? I got another one, right? Twitter. Yeah, verified on Twitter. Check that out. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. We're back in the flow. We're making good content. It's going to be an amazing year here, so stay tuned. I hope to see you guys next time. Never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see you then.